Yes, we did it! I know, you're probably wondering, what is this alien green cake and why is he so excited about it? Well, let me tell you that if you've never heard of pandan, you are missing out. But fear not, it's your lucky day because I'm gonna teach you how to make it. What up, y'all? It's your boy BP Ham, and today we're making Vietnamese Banh Bo Nuong, which translates to cow cake. Cow cake? Cow cake, or Banh Bo Nuong, is a Vietnamese staple dessert known for its sweet, chewy texture and its beautiful honeycomb structure. It's usually pandan flavored, and if you like mochi-like texture, you're going to love this dessert. It is a little bit finicky, and when people make it, they have trouble getting that honeycomb texture, but I'm gonna show you a few tricks to make it happen. The two distinct flavors of this cake are coconut and pandan. The first step to this recipe is to preheat your oven to 350 degrees in the middle rack and place your bundt cake pan on top of it. I have my bundt cake pan here pre-oiled and I have that in the oven. Next, we're going to lightly melt our sugar into our coconut oil so that it can cool off while we prepare the dry ingredients. You're going to need 250 grams of plain white sugar. Add half a teaspoon of salt, and you need salt in every dessert to help bring out the rest of the other flavors. Next, you're gonna wanna open one 14-ounce can of coconut milk. I love this brand. Pour that coconut milk straight into your sugar and salt mixture. Give that a nice stir. And that smell of coconut milk, I love it. Take this to the stove and heat it on medium-low just until everything is nice and dissolved and mixed together. Just mix this around to make sure nothing's stuck at the bottom. Make sure all of those sugars are melted, and then you can turn off the heat. Next, we're gonna sift together our dry ingredients, and this may be a hot take, and I might get some flack from this from the true Vietnamese cooks out there. This is a combination of tapioca starch, also known as tapioca flour, rice flour, and baking powder. Now, for the hot take. In Vietnamese cooking, they're gonna tell you to use ALSA baking powder. This is a single acting baking powder. Most grocery stores sell double acting baking powder, which means it reacts when it's mixed together and also to the heat in the oven, which gives it an extra lift. I've tried this recipe with the ALSA baking powder and it did not turn out as strong of a structure as when I use the baking powder. And maybe some people like that texture, but I prefer the texture with the double acting baking powder for this recipe. Maybe there's other recipes out there that this ALSA baking powder works great, but I will not be using that for this. So, sorry to all the Vietnamese people, please don't kill me. I already have the tapioca starch and the rice flour measured out here. So we have 265 grams of tapioca starch. We're gonna sift all of this together. 15 grams of rice flour and 2 teaspoons of your regular, good old double acting baking powder. I'll clean that later. I said teaspoons, right? I meant teaspoons if I said tablespoon. 2 teaspoons of double acting baking powder. And just sift that through your strainer. A little less messy than I'm doing here. Combo of tapioca starch and rice flour give this that mochi chewy texture. And then just kind of mix that all together. Get those ingredients well combined. Set this aside and we'll work on our wet ingredients. Remember how I said that honeycomb shape and structure is hard to achieve? These next steps are gonna help you achieve that structure with minimal stress. So just follow these exactly how we're doing it and you will get that perfect honeycomb texture. We're gonna need 6 eggs, and you're gonna need to strain your eggs through a strainer. I know it sounds weird, but it helps make a smooth batter. So you're gonna strain 6 eggs into a large bowl because we're just gonna use this bowl to mix the rest of the ingredients. Pro tip, I like to crack my eggs in a separate bowl so I do not accidentally get any eggshells because I'm very clumsy and for some reason I always find an eggshell when I'm cracking the eggs. So just crack that on a surface. Oh, see, God, cannot crack egg. No one saw that. Do that again. That's our last egg. You wanna strain this lightly, don't vigorously like mix it around or anything. You wanna incorporate as little air as you can. And then sometimes it gets caught at the bottom of here, so you just wanna get your spatula and just take all that's already strained but just won't drop off, and it'll help the rest come through. Pushing it through and not like vigorously mixing or anything like that. Once you got it all through the top, make sure you just clean off the bottom and have all of that egg mixture into the bowl. The main flavor to this cake is pandan. I've made my own extract and tried different pandan brands. I'm gonna tell you my favorite way to do it. Most people would say go with the real pandan leaves. So you can either get fresh pandan leaves. These are frozen because those are hard to find. You put them in a blender with some water. You let that mixture sit overnight and it'll separate into two parts, a lighter green and a dark green, and that dark green will be your own pandan extract full of that fresh pandan flavor. Not my favorite method for a few reasons. One, a lot of extra steps, cleanup. Two, it takes like an extra 1 or 2 days to let that sediment kind of get to the bottom. And three, I don't know if it's because I've eaten so much processed food, but I really didn't think the flavor was strong enough to kind of permeate through the whole cake. These are the two brand of pandans I found at my grocery store, Butterfly and Kopo, and I much prefer the Butterfly brand. So if you want to try this out and you only want to kind of like do one, I would pick the Butterfly brand pandan extract. It's easy, it's quick, and it's delicious. Our coconut sugar mixture is cooled and we're gonna pour that straight into our egg mixture. Get all of that from the bottom of the pan. Added 1.5 teaspoon of vanilla extract and 2 teaspoons of your pandan extract. This stuff is so green. I've already stained my fingers just opening it, so be careful around all of your stuff. It's like an alien green color, I'm not kidding. Give this a light mix, don't over mix it, just get it to all incorporate together, and then you'll see it slowly turn into that signature green color. And when I say green, I mean look at this. Look how green this is. Add your dry ingredients to your wet mixture. Mix it a little bit, don't mix it too much because we are gonna sieve it all again through the strainer. And like I said, don't over mix it, but just get that incorporated just a little bit. It is going to be a fairly wet mixture. The key to this recipe is not over mixing it. Something about over mixing it messes with that honeycomb structure. Once you can barely see the white parts anymore is when we're gonna strain it. Grab a bowl, put your strainer on top, and push this mixture through. You do a little bit at a time and just help that go through the strainer. It does feel very weird, but trust me, it will go through. Get that last bit through. Wipe off that bottom excess of your strainer. And finally, the last step, you're gonna add 23 grams of coconut oil. You want to make sure your oil is liquefied. Just microwave it just for a sec until it became liquid. Add that into your strain mixer and then just mix it around until it's incorporated. Don't over mix. After this is mixed up, pull your preheated pan out of the oven. Be careful because it's hot. Remember, we already have this grease. You're gonna pour your mixture straight into your bundt pan. Don't pour it through the hole. That may be spoken from experience. Clean up any of your spills really quick. Return this to your oven and bake for 45 minutes. Be careful, it's hot. Our cake's in the oven, and from here, do not open the oven for at least 30 minutes, if at all, until you are ready to test it for doneness. If you open it too soon, that cake's gonna flatten out and it's not gonna be able to expand and get that honeycomb structure inside, so please do not touch your cake for at least 30 minutes. Around the 45-minute mark, we're going to wanna prick it with a cake tester or a bamboo skewer and make sure that it comes out clean. After that, we're going to turn the oven off, turn the cake over onto like a wire rack, put it back in the oven, and let it cool down in the oven with the door pulled open, and kind of like put a wooden spoon in there or something so that doesn't close, and let the cake cool in there for at least 15 minutes. It's been about 50 minutes, so we got our cake out here. You can see that green color. I'm going to flip it over onto this wired rack and we're gonna put it back in the oven. Prop the door open with a wooden spoon for about 15 minutes. Our cake has cooled in the oven for 15 minutes. We're going to turn this bad boy over. Grab a sharp knife and you're just gonna cut around the cake to make sure that it's not sticking. Make sure you get that inner hoop as well. Turn it around. Give it a good pop, pop. Pray that it comes out. And there it is. Wow. Woo! It looks good. I mean, look at that. Look at that. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Now we're gonna cut it up and see that green interior. Ooh! Yes, we did it! We got that honeycomb structure. See how you got those streaks in there? Wow, I'm quite happy with how this turned out, so let's taste it! I mean, just look at this. I could not be happier with how it turned out. I'm just gonna pull it apart. Look at that texture inside. For those of you who have never had something like this, it's probably gonna be a weird texture, something you never tasted, that coconut, and if you never had pandan before, but as you keep eating it, you're gonna be like, that's pretty good. And yeah, and the next thing you know, this whole cake is gonna be gone. I made this for my roommate once and he ate it in like probably 2 hours. If you don't like overly sweet desserts, this one is just for you. I know it's green, it looks weird, but just try it out. Let me know how you like it. That's it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed this Vietnamese recipe. If you could do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Give this video a thumbs up and comment below on what you would like me to cook or bake next. Until next time, peace.